Okay, I have finally got my final drive set up, mocked up, put together on the racing mower, all with cheap belts from Canadian Tire. These belts range anywhere from $10 to $12 front and back. So I'm running 60-inch on the back, and I'm running a 60-inch on the front and a 46-inch on the back. Both are in place. I'm running a 5-inch pulley on the engine. I'm pretty sure that's what they were running. Really, I ran into a problem with measuring up the belts, and I was having an issue because I wasn't getting an exact measurement. I do have my final pulley in place now. I have my final pulley in place on the back, but the back drive can be changed quite easily, much separate from the front drive. So the front drive with the 60-inch belt will not be changing, but the back drive with the 46-inch belt could change if I do want to get more speed out of this machine. Really, the way it's set up is the only way I could do it and still have a clutch and still have functioning brakes without burning the brakes off, hopefully, if the tires are trying to spin while the clutch is in. I'm hoping the setup will work. This is why I'm using cheap belts instead of the much more expensive Kevlar. Once I know everything's going to work, I'll go out and get the Kevlar belts. These belts are just disposable at this point in time. I'm happy what I have was available at Canadian Tire. I actually ran into some issues at PV Mart, which is TSC, with getting belts. The one TSC to one direction of me pretty much had everything, but the other TSC, the one I go to somewhat more often at the beginning and end of the month, didn't necessarily have what I needed. So it was a toss-up between the two stores trying to figure out what I could get. Also, Princess Auto does have a lot of the parts as well, so I might end up going there for my final belts, but at this point I don't know yet. My final belts, like I said, will be down the road a little bit. I will be testing this machine the way it is right now with my current setup. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, and everything should be good. Okay, here is my final drive setup for the rear. I don't know what size that pulley is offhand. It's at least a 7 or 8. I'll grab a measuring tape in a second and we'll double check it. But off of that jack shaft, we got an idler pulley, which is actually adjustable. They actually have multiple holes in this for adjustability, and then it goes to my rear pulley right here. The transaxle that's in here is not staying. I do have another one that will be going in here. Most likely the one that is currently in the Poulon tractor out back will be going in this machine. Then this transaxle right here will be going back in the Poulon. So that's why I have not mounted this pulley yet. I do not have a key in there. Also, if you can see the center hole, I will be drilling out the other transaxle for that center hole to actually hold that in with a bolt, not a C-clip. So right here, we got good tension on here, and everything does move like it should. Okay, the final drive setup up front, 5-inch on the engine, which I do believe is what they were running, because where the belt tensioners were is pretty close to a 5-inch pulley. Then you go to a double pulley clutch, which is pretty common on most racing mowers. This one is not the original. I thought it was the original at first, but it is much more beefier and upgraded from what the original would be. Then you go back to the jack shaft pulley. Basically, the front is almost a 1-to-1, so you're not really making much power at all through the front of this machine. All the power is being made after the jack shaft. This has definitely been a bit of a long time coming. It's taken multiple trips back and forth to Princess Auto, PV Mart, and Canadian Tire. So I did not want to buy the most expensive belts right now, since they're a little bit more harder to return. Being Kevlar, they get dirty really easy. These ones are the plain black belts. They don't really show the dirt nearly as much. So that's why I wanted to go with the cheapest belts I could get. Like I said, between $10 and $15. and mock up with them. I could even test run them with the, I could test run the machine with these belts as well without having any issues. Like I said, they're disposable, so I'm good on that aspect. But like I said, I did screw up since I did not have my complete engine pulley ready to go for the front. The back setup came together pretty easily. I did originally have the wrong pulley, and actually I had this pulley here in my stash. So that's where I kind of screwed up on the back. But on the front, I screwed up by not having what I wanted to have for my final drive. I should have bought that pulley weeks ago or even months ago, just after getting this machine, but I failed to do that. I was hoping to get the back put together first and then get the front put together. Really, I should have got the parts for both at the same time, got a large variety of belts, and went from there. I definitely could have had this a little bit farther along, a little bit sooner, but like I've said from the beginning, this project is not a boom, slap it together project and it's going to go. It's a slap it together project, hopefully put together with parts I have sitting around, which somewhat for the most part it is and it was, but I've decided to go with a little bit nicer parts like this engine and the transaxle that I'm going to be going with right from the beginning instead of running the junkier parts. And for those of you who care, we're actually running a closer to 10 inch on the back of the jack shaft, 9.5 to 10 inch on the back, which is definitely a lot larger than what my original racing mower was. My original racing mower had an 8 inch on the engine, same style pulley, but I was running an 8 inch on the engine, no jack shaft, basically a straight belt, straight to the transaxle. This machine, like I said, is running a jack shaft, 2 belts, to the back. So this machine, even I think with this setup here, is going to go pretty fast. And the final pulley on the back is also a 3 inch. So the setup on here is definitely a lot more extreme than my former racing mower. Like I said, this is a pro class machine. This machine is designed for the high speeds. For me, I want it to be a little bit more laid back, which it should be. But if I do need to change my rear ratios, that can quite easily be done. Just increase the size of the final pulley, obviously increase the size of the belt, so on and so on. It should actually be relatively easy to change the final pulley size in the back. Really, if you go up an inch on the pulley, you go up an inch on the belt. So again, it shouldn't be too hard to change it in the back if I need to in the future. Hopefully I don't. Probably won't be running this all the way to 6th gear. It's probably going to be ran 1 through 4, most likely. So that's it for this machine for right now. Next, we'll be getting the transmission sorted, transaxle sorted. Then we'll move up and start getting everything else on the engine side sorted out. But really, I want to get the drive done. The tires for the back have still yet been ordered. They're going to be coming from a golf cart supplier. I'll be getting them when I get my income tax back. So that's what I'm waiting on that. But in the meantime, I can get this transaxle modified, or sorry, the one that's going in here modified, and get that ready to go as well. And I got some cosmetics things I need to get done on this, the seat and the rear pan. But again, of all that stuff there, it all needs to wait until I have the transaxle done, the tires in place, and this machine will be just about ready to go. Also, the battery, I'm going to have to do a separate video on that. A short, and then the final. Again, these videos will not be coming out for a little while anyways, which you guys won't be hearing for a little while anyways either. So that's pretty much it for the racing mower. I know this video actually dragged on a lot longer than I originally thought it was going to, but it's just the setup that this machine is running, and this will be the final setup as well. So talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.